my teeth.
Hi there, it's Amy Wiswell with Teaching with Mrs. Wiswell, and today I thought I would take a moment to kind of reflect on the last year, the 2022-2023 school year. For those of you that don't know, I teach third grade in Maine, and I had a trying school year, if I'm being honest. It was a roller coaster. It definitely was, and it was a wild ride. And I'm not sure I would still be in the classroom if it wasn't for an amazing administration, wonderful parents, co-workers that had my back, and students that made every day worth it, even the hard days. Somehow we made it through, all of us, and I feel like we ended on a really positive note. There were ups and there were downs and there were highs and there were lows, and it was just a lot. It was a lot of, these are the babes that went home in March of their kindergarten year due to COVID, and they missed out on a lot of really important social things and emotional things, and how to regulate their emotions, big problems versus small problems, and just how to be a student. So that's not even talking academics. I mean, down to how to hold a pencil and do letter formations, and I'm not talking about cursive. So let's dive in and talk about it and see how I got to where I am today and how I'm still standing and smiling and feel pretty positive about the impact I had on these kids. I think back to our year when I made our end of the year video, and in the moment it was really hard to see all that we were doing, whether it be the fun days like Grinch Day or Camp Read Aloud, but down just to like the nitty gritty of just the simple activity of doing STEM bins and challenging ourselves and stretching our brains and working really hard, and NWEA scores that went up, and just it makes me smile, and it made me cry, because I know it took so much work and effort, not only on my part, not only on my administrator's part, but on their part, on my students' part. They had to learn to navigate sometimes an unbalanced or unregulated classroom, which isn't easy, and they all brought their own struggles with them, and then they had to take on that of their peers who maybe were having a hard time that day, or it was just a lot. We had our fair share of behaviors and tantrums, and sometimes tears, sometimes my tears. No, I never let them see me cry. But amidst all of it, there was moments of growth, learning, and pure joy that reminded me why I became a teacher in the first place. And last year at this time, I knew what was coming. I knew that this was a class that had a lot of high needs and a lot of behaviors, and I knew they were the COVID babies. And my principal said to me, "You're going to learn a lot next year." And she was absolutely right. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. as a person with the ability to persevere. I learned a lot about myself as a teacher and how to differentiate and meet the needs of all my learners. It was just, she was right. I definitely learned a lot this year. And I learned that I have what it takes, even on the difficult years. And it was worth it. It was worth it to see those kids. They all, there were some tears on the last day of school. They're all excited for 4th grade, but sad to leave me. And they're in our environment, right? The space that I'm creating and that I want them to feel comfortable in. I won't sugarcoat it. There were days when I questioned my abilities and felt overwhelmed, and that's an understatement. The behavior seemed never ending, and it felt like I was fighting an uphill battle, but I didn't give up. I never gave up. I held on to my belief that every child deserves a chance to succeed, and I also believe that children will do well when they can. And that's a pretty powerful statement in the fact that it's simple. Children will do well when they can. But it is so deep in the fact that every child wants to succeed. Every child that walks through the store is a people pleaser, right? They don't scheme ways to make life difficult for Mrs. Wiswell, right? They don't want to have a temper tantrum during math. They don't want to get frustrated at their friends at recess. They want to do well. They want to succeed. No matter what challenges they face, they deserve a chance to succeed, whether it be issues at home or issues at school or academic issues or social emotional issues or whatever, right? We all bring it. Some of us are able to check it at the door, and I know some adults that aren't able to check it at the door, right? So we're asking these little babies, they're just babies, they're 8 and 9 years old, to forget what just happened at home, the fight that you had with your mom or your mom and dad fighting or whatever, and check it at the door. And they just don't have the tools to do that. That's a big ask for a little kid. But seeing the progress that the students made, both academically and personally, made it all worth it. When I sat down on the last day of school, I was pooped. And up until the last minute of our half-day dismissal on the last day of school, I was putting out fires. Legit. On the last day of school. But it's okay. I remember the day when one of my students who had struggles with reading all year, basically his whole school life, finally read a book that he was interested in, that he could read fluently, and he was beaming. And he was so excited to tell me. And that moment is a core memory for me now. And it just made my heart soar. I was so happy that he was so happy. He was, so happy about something so important, but that he recognized how important and great it was, and the pride that he had. Yeah, It was really great. Like, yeah. I think my biggest thing and my strongest asset as a teacher is that I work really hard at building relationships with my students, and that was key this year. For whatever reason, with this group of students, relationship building was huge. We did a lot of restorative conversations, a lot of restorative circles, and like through patience, understanding, and a lot of empathy, we as a class were able to create an environment where they felt safe and valued and supported. And I feel like every one of them felt heard in this classroom and felt safe with me. It didn't help if I was out, because they didn't have the ability to transfer that feeling to a substitute. And it didn't help when they went to specials. They didn't have that same safe place. So I saw more behaviors in specials or at recess than I had in this classroom, because for whatever reason, and I don't want to say what for whatever reason, but for the very reason that we created this environment where they felt, that this was a place of collaboration and growth and respect, right? Mutual respect. I respected them, so they showed me respect. And I think that's key, and I always think that's key, but it was just so important this year, and it took longer this year to achieve that. They didn't get the buy-in of our class as a family. They didn't in the beginning. They were very resistant, and I just had to prove myself to them that I wasn't giving up on them, that I was going to be here no matter what they did. I was in their corner, and I'm in their corner forever. And I hope that's their takeaway, because that's my goal every year. And some people may have a difficult year and think, oh, thank God it's over. And I'm not saying that I don't think that, but I'm going to miss this group. Like, we bonded in a way that is very unique. And because they didn't just buy into it, and because they made me work for it, it's like anything. When you work really hard for something, it means more. So I think that is why it meant so much. And so with the students, I learned so much. I learned new strategies on how to get them to buy in. I sought guidance from my peers, fellow educators, and really tapped into my own resilience. Like surviving this year, and we all have years like this, and this isn't going to be my only rough year. And although it probably was my roughest year in my career, even thinking back, like before I took my leave to have babies and I was a kindergarten teacher, I had some tough classes too, but this was just different. And I blame a lot of it on COVID. I blame a lot of it on being a small school, in that we only have one of each grade. So there's no ability to mix up kids, that don't jive. But yeah, I'm strong. I end a lot of my videos with teaching is hard, but so are you. Like, that was my mantra. Like, teaching is hard, but so are you. Like, I would tell myself that. Like, multiple times a day. So to all my fellow teachers out there who had a rough or tough year, and there's a fly in here, I want you to know that you're not alone. We all have those moments when we question ourselves, where we feel overwhelmed. But remember, like, we are making a difference. We are shaping young minds and paving the way to a better future. At least that's my takeaway and my hope. I hope when students enter my classroom, it's like the Girl Scout way. Leave it better than you found it when you go to a picnic area or somewhere. I hope when they enter my classroom, they leave better people than when they entered it. Like, I just want them to be good humans. I just want them to feel valued and loved. And I want them to learn too. But sometimes, like, I really believe learning can't happen unless those needs are met. And if there's anything more evident or to prove that point, it's this year for me, in that I had to do a lot of SEL. I had to do a lot of relationship building and what it means to be a friend, how to pay a compliment, what's kind, what's unkind, what's a big problem, what's a small problem. Like, so much. It was just as important as teaching them math and reading and writing. And it was so important, and it took up so much time that I had to integrate it into my lessons. So our writing might have been about being a kind friend. Our books, our read-alouds were more SEL based, because I didn't have enough time to do it all, and they needed it all. So as I clean up this school year and bid farewell, I do it with a heart full of gratitude and hope. We survived. We not only survived, we thrived. We really did, as a class. And I want to thank you for watching and joining me on this journey. And I know I kind of fell off the face of the earth towards the end of the year. It just gets so busy at the end of the year. We forget how busy it gets. It's almost as hectic as the beginning of the year, but in a different way. But I hope to document a lot more for you next year. And of course, I'll have my summer setup series. And I hope you'll join me for that. And so if you like my channel, if you would like and subscribe so you don't miss anything, that would be awesome. And I look forward to sharing more of my teaching and ideas and just life, right, as a third grade teacher with you. I am teaching third grade next year, and I'm very much looking forward to my new group of kids, and I know it'll be another great year. All right, thanks for watching, and remember, teaching is hard, but so are you. Bye.